All right, we're live. This is so exciting. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing great. And I'm glad to be here talking about everything that I have been watching, everything that's been going on. It's been crazy for me. I have literally had an evening commitment every single night for the last couple of months, except for maybe Sundays. Even though sometimes I have something on Sunday, it's wild. And Of course, things are crazy busy for me now with Hallmarkies podcast, trying to get all these Christmas movies watched, in addition to everything I'm doing for the movie show, and trying to get all of those movies watched. And It's sort of fun because there's always these sort of weird movies that you never even heard of that are released every week. And as part of the movie show, I'm kind of watching those. And that's sort of an interesting experience that it's like, I don't know, sometimes you find those hidden gems, things that are actually quite good. And then other times it's like, yeah, there's a reason why this is getting no attention because it is not good. But all of that, it's certainly been a dream come true to be, even as a substitute, to be hosting the movie show, to be able to be doing it for as long as I've done it. It's going to be continuing for at least, we don't know. It's month to month, but going to be continuing on this month for sure. So I'm grateful for that. And Yeah, just a lot of fun stuff to talk about. And I hope you're all doing well. I'm going to have the chat room open, including the super chat. So if you want to put in a super chat with a question, I would love to take that from you. And It's kind of an interesting fall, I feel like, for movies. Of course, October was one of the worst performing movie months in years and years and years, since I think 1998, which is wild. And it's even worse than that when you count inflation. Yeah, I mean, I think it was just the problem was that they just thought that Tron was going to be a bigger hit than it was. I mean, it was a huge flop. And so, that was their fatal flaw and their big problem. So the last live stream that I did is, let's see here. I think it was right before Halloween that I did it. Live stream. Yes. So I did the live stream on Halloween. Yeah. And I was in my Halloween costume and all of that fun stuff. So let's talk about everything that I have watched in November. But I just feel like this fall that there have been not that many movies that I'm super hyped for. Like, I just feel like me and almost everybody I know is just sort of waiting for Wicked to come out. That's like the big movie. That's the big, 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 big release that everybody is hyped for, especially everybody in my world, because it's got the theater connection and the movie connection. And so let's see here. Have you seen the trailer for Gore Verbinski's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die? I have not. I have not. So I have to check that out. I'm assuming that's animated, but I have not. Let's see here. Hi there. Speaking of Disney, I can't say I'm pleased with the news that they're going to have user-generated AI shorts on Disney Plus. That's a slippery slope. I'm surprised that they would want to be encouraging that at all, because I think they just had a lawsuit about this AI company that's using their images. What was it? Let me see here. Yeah, June 2025 lawsuit against the AI image generator Midjourney for allegedly creating and distributing unauthorized images of its characters. In addition, Disney, along with Warner Brothers, NBC Universal, suing Chinese AI company Minimax in September, allegedly for copyrighted characters from their respective studios. They also have to be really careful, because that was a big part of the negotiations with the actor strike, was about AI and all of that. So that's there's all different kinds of problems. So I would think that they would want to stay away from that. But I guess they only like it. I guess they only dislike it if it's not coming from them. If they are generating the AI shorts, I guess they can rationalize it, which is sad. I hadn't heard that. Let's see. Let's see. It's a sci-fi film about a man from the future fighting AI, which stars Sam Rockwell and Zazie Beetz, who also did The Bad Guys, and Michael Pena's in it. It's live action, not animated. Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, Gore Verbinski, he tends to be a bit self-indulgent in his films. They tend to be overlong. And that, I mean, I'm not the biggest sci-fi person, so I'm probably like the wrong one, but I haven't seen the trailer, so maybe it's amazing. But I don't know. I haven't seen it. So let's see here. But I don't know. I just feel like in general, there's not like a ton of movies that people are super, super hyped for this season. It just seems a little low energy, even in like the film side. And so let's talk about what I've been seeing. So the first movie that's on theaters, Bahubali. Where are you? Okay, up there. Did I talk about? I think I talked about Anniversary. Yeah, I talked about Anniversary. So I talked about Begonia. Not a fan. I was not a fan of Begonia. It's better than some of his other stuff, but I'm just not a Lanthimos person. It's just not who I am as a human. So let's talk about Bahubali, the epic. So this is by director S.S. Rajamouli, who I love, who I got to interview. Just a couple questions. That is super fun, and I love getting to do that. I admire him so much. And what they did for this Bahubali, the epic, is they combined Bahubali 1 and Bahubali 2, and they took out an hour and a half and combined it and made it into one movie with an intermission. I didn't realize that going into it. I guess I just hadn't done my homework. And most of what they took out is the songs. There's a couple songs, but not that many. Which obviously, as a lover of musicals, that's kind of sad that they lost the songs and they made it more of like a streamlined action film. I'm kind of surprised if you're going to edit an hour and a half out. I'm surprised they didn't kind of reconfigure things because it is a little bit confusing. In Bahubali 2, it goes from being a sequel to being a prequel, and half of the movie is the backstory about the love story of Bahubali, his parents, basically the first Bahubali. And so I would think if you were going to be rearranging everything, why not change that and have that be at the beginning? Like, why not have it be in chronological order if you're going to be switching everything around anyway? That might have been interesting, but the action is so incredible, and the energy, it's just so like fresh and exciting, and so I love getting a chance to see it, and getting to see it on the big screen was really wonderful. Let's see here. I'm really curious how Zootopia 2 is going to do. I am too. I mean, the first one did so amazing, and there's been such a dearth in family content that I think it'll do very well. The trailers have been good. Like, it would be surprising if it didn't do well. It would be very, very surprising, I think, because I just think the first one did well. People enjoyed it. It's also nice. It's also nice because it's a movie that appeals equally to boys and girls, so that makes it nice for parents and families. You have a lead female character, a lead male character. It's also one that you can take pretty much any age to. It's not like Gabby's Dollhouse or something like that, where that's going to lean much, 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 much younger than Zootopia 2. So I feel like it hits a lot of demographic boxes. My concern with it is I just kind of hope that they don't feel a need to be as allegorical in this second one. I hope that they can just tell an entertaining police story, an entertaining detective story, mystery, for kids. I don't think it needs to be so much if like a Fable, like the first one, with predators and and the prey and everything like that. And I think that would be a mistake, especially with how sort of sensitive people are right now to anything that's like slightly woke. I just don't think we're in the same spot as we were in 2016 to those kind of themes and ideas. And so I would just if it was me, I would say just tell an entertaining mystery. I would not lean super hard into like an allegory like they did with the first one, but that's just me. So let's see here. I think it will do very well. I have lots of friends with little ones who are excited about it and can't wait to go. The thing that's interesting, and it's kind of similar to the Bad Guys that came out this summer, is that both Zootopia and the Bad Guys are not all that merchandisable for Disney. I mean, Bad Guys was Universal, but neither of those are that merchandisable. Like you're not going to be walking around with like a Nick Wilde plush. Like it's just not going to be the same as like, a Minion or, some of their other, an Olaf or, you know what I mean? Like something that's really cute. And, or like at least with Frozen, you've got like the dolls and you've got, like, so in that sense, it's a little bit of an interesting choice. Both of those are interesting choices for their brands to sort of try to promote and I don't know, kind of interesting to think about but I'm really excited for it. But I feel like Zootopia 2 and Wicked are like the big movies that everybody I know is pretty excited about. And not that much. I mean, I guess some people are excited about Avatar. But I don't know, I just feel like there's not that many other ones that people are, really excited about. I know it's a weird year because I think a lot of particularly animated films got pushed back. And also, I feel like there's something of like K-pop Demon Hunters just kind of took all the air out of the room for animation and for fandoms and for everything like that. I don't know. It's just kind of like nothing can live up to the phenomenon that it was. I did see, of course, did you see Elio? I did. I thought it was kind of boring, to be honest. It was cute. It's not, not terrible. It'd be worth watching on Disney Plus. You can feel it being kind of hacked together and reassorted, and a lot of different ideas happening. But it has nice moments. It's watchable. That's how I feel. We've had we've had a month of Hallmark Christmas releases, which is wild and crazy, but it's true. So that's interesting. So far, I think my favorite is Christmas Above the Clouds because I love Christmas Carol and I love Christmas Carol retellings. And I was doubtful that Hallmark would be able to do it right because they usually don't do Christmas Carol right because they don't want to have one of their leading ladies be like a true Scrooge. But this time they did, and I was so proud of them for that. She was really mean. They definitely went all for it, and I thought it was just very clever. It was very well thought out. They had like Ella Neezer was her name. That was funny. The Marley character was named Marlene. There was just a lot of fun stuff. Everything was set on an airplane. So when Jacob Marley comes, she's got all of these seat belts as her chains. I mean, it's just a lot of clever stuff like that, I thought. Another one that I really enjoyed is A Newport Christmas. This is another attempt by them to do the time travel narrative. They've done a bunch of these at Hallmark, but this is one of the best that they've done. And I think a lot of it is because Jenna Claire Mason, who's the lead, she has an old soul about her. It's completely believable that she's a woman from 1905 in 2025. And so the fish out of water elements and everything really worked well. And And so, yeah, I also enjoyed that movie because they had like three layers of romance. It wasn't just the main romance, but there was another couple for somebody else who time traveled. Then there was her boss, who she kept calling a lady boss, which I thought was really funny, and her romance. So all three of those I liked a lot, and so that adds an appeal. So I really enjoyed A Newport Christmas and Christmas Above the Clouds. Those are my two favorite. But honestly, there hasn't been one so far that I've like hated. They've all been entertaining, I think, for Hallmark. So that's great. That's great news. And just a reminder, we got the chat room open, and if you want to do a super chat that with a question, I'd be happy to do that. One movie that kind of will go under the radar that people won't be talking about is a movie called Nuremberg, and this was an excellent film. It's about the Nuremberg trials after World War II, and Russell Crowe plays this like head Nazi guy. He was right work. He's like Hitler's right hand man, and he is going to be tried in this international court, which they've never done an international court before. And so Rami Malek plays this psychiatrist who is trying to determine whether he's like mentally stable to appear and go to court. And they're all trying to make this as much humanity as they can, since everything had kind of backfired so much after World War One. They want to try to do this reconciliation, this piece the right way. So there's all these different factors coming into play. There's all these different characters, and I thought it was moving. I thought it was well done. I thought it was engrossing. And it's an interesting dynamic for Rami Malek's character, because he has to find the humanity in this man. In this, he has to get to know this Russell Crowe character. He has to kind of dig a little bit deeper. But while he's doing that, he is then presented with the reality of what this man did. And they have this really powerful scene where they all watch the footage of the soldiers and going into the concentration camps for the first time. They've never seen that before, and the shock and it's very powerful and very well done. So I think that one's worth checking out if you get a chance. That one will go under the radar, but I really enjoyed it. Another one that I really enjoyed that's different. I really enjoyed Predator Badlands. I had never seen a Predator film. That's just one of the blind spots that I had. And so this was a very weird one to start out the Predator franchise with. But I thought, oh, maybe that'll be kind of a unique perspective. And then I watched the first one we did, Blind Spot Project, me and Manda, this week. So that's a fun episode. But this, I appreciate the fact that they took a risk, that they're telling this from the Predator's perspective. And what I like about this is that they managed to do something different in a legacy sequel without actually impacting the legacy characters at all. So I don't really understand why some people are all hot and bothered by it, because if you love the Predator movies, you still have all of those intact. I mean, to me, this is like way less bothersome than, say, The Last Jedi, which you're literally impacting the character, the main sole focus of this entire franchise. You're changing him into this bitter old man, you know? So I completely understand why people would be upset with that. But this is just like it's basically a spinoff, you know, and it's trying to approach the world in a new way from the Predator's perspective. That's like kind of interesting. And you can say, okay, they did or didn't succeed, but I think the swing is pretty admirable, and I wish that more franchises took a risk in the right way like that, because again, this didn't affect any of our legacy characters. So I think it was a pretty cool idea, and I enjoyed it. I thought the world building was really cool. Just things like there's in the planet that they're at. There's this razor glass that's like sharp as a knife, and so they see this field and they want to just go through it, but they can't. They'll get eaten up by these razor blades. I thought that's a clever idea. Like, and it forces our characters to to be creative in their problem solving and how they get around it and stuff. And so I liked it. I thought it was good. So then I saw Christy, and this is a boxing movie about Christy Martin, who was, I think, one of the first female boxers. And the problem with this movie is that the focus is on her and her relationship with her husband, and his abusive it's basically a domestic violence story, which would be fine, but the problem is that it just felt incredibly repetitive to me, as opposed to like an absorbing narrative. It was like, okay, we have this scene where she gets abused by, and then there'll be like a small boxing scene and then another scene. Like, I just wasn't an absorbing narrative, an arc for her. I didn't think. It was just kind of like, I feel like I'm seeing the same scene over and over again. So that was the problem. Then we have Die My Love, and I can understand why some people really love this movie. It's very creative. The filmmaking is very like wild and crazy, and the decisions are definitely different. So I can understand why some people would really like enjoy the unpredictability of it. But in this movie, you have Jennifer Lawrence's character going completely unhinged, and she, I mean, spoiler alert, but she shoots a puppy in the movie. And like, I feel like if you're gonna have your character do that, then you need to like really earn it. Like, say Old Yeller. By the end, when he has to kill Old Yeller, everybody's bawling. It's emotional. It's sad. It's earned. And this, I mean, I just felt like it was unredeemable. I just could not root for that character anymore after what she did. And so, and I'm not even like that much of a dog person, but it was just too much for me. Then I saw a movie called I Am Curious Johnny. This is a documentary that was on HBO Max. And it's supposedly they're advertising it as the man who created the selfie. But then you watch it and he's like, no, they've been doing selfies since the 1920s. I created the celebrity selfie. And I'm just like, that's so lame. That's so stupid. And what has he done? Like, he just has a lot of famous friends. He knows famous people. He has memorabilia. That's not interesting to me. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you have famous friends. That's not interesting to me. Like, I don't know. So I really dislike this documentary. It was not good. So there we go. I would not recommend it. And then I saw In Your Dreams. This is the new animated film coming to Netflix. It's going to have a couple weeks in the theaters, but then, and it's a sweet movie. It's about this brother and sister. The brother is a lot. He's a lot of personality. I can understand why the little girl is very frustrated. But their parents are separating. So that's obviously devastating and really difficult. And it's interesting because they had that movie Spellbound last year, which involved a divorce. But this one is so much better, I think, so much more nuanced, so much more authentic feeling, where that one felt almost like sort of like you mixed a PSA with a fairy tale. It just didn't feel authentic. It didn't work. And this is much better. So they end up having these combined dreams, and there's a certain thing that they have to find in the dreams, and they have to help, and like she kind of wants to stay in the dream, where it's sort of like Coraline when she gets presented with the perfect family. It's kind of similar to what this girl gets, because she sees like the perfect world where her parents are getting along, everything's great. She wants to stay there. She wants that, like, that's her dream. And but it's kind of like in the Harry Potter, where you're sitting in front of the mirror and you can waste away in front of it, seeing your dreams. That's kind of a similar thing. They use a lot of creativity about the dream worlds and the I liked the fact that there was a little bit of randomness, and particularly they have this Blony dog, Blony man, whatever, like because dreams are kind of random. You need something that's sort of weird and different, and I mean that was the one thing that Inception got wrong is that there's nothing that's really dream quality. There's nothing that's random about it. The movie that was based on, Paprika, is a lot better as far as that goes with like having that randomness. I mean, I love Inception, but just it didn't really feel like a dream because there was nothing that was sort of random. It was all very like methodical and everything. So that's what I liked about In Your Dreams. I mean, like I said, the kid was a lot. He was the little boy was a little annoying to me, but I still overall enjoyed it. And I got to interview the director. It's a short interview. It'll be up, I think, tomorrow when they send it to me. I actually did that earlier this morning, and it's about 10 minutes, so pretty short. I feel like I'm going to. Excuse me. Sorry. But anyway, you get to enjoy it. I tried to pack in as much as I could in the few minutes that I had. Okay. Then we have Is This Thing On? Another movie about divorce. This is definitely for adults, but I really liked this movie. I went into it not expecting that much. It's by director Bradley Cooper, but it stars Will Arnett and Laura Dern. And I thought it was really moving. I really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than the other people at my screening. They didn't seem that thrilled with it, but I thought it felt very authentic and humane. And it's not one of those, it's not like Marriage Story or one of these other divorce movies where it's just unpleasant to watch because it gets to such a dark place. And I'm sure that's cathartic for some people going through that kind of horrible divorce experience. I get that, why everyone needs like a Kramer versus Kramer. But for me personally, I don't love those narratives. Like it's just too depressing. And so this managed to feel authentic, I think, in their relationship and how they felt. And it's basically like he starts doing this stand-up night, open mic night, as a way of kind of coping with this divorce. And so it's sort of following. And I heard people in my theater saying, oh, he wasn't very good at the comedy. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point. He's an amateur. He's just trying this out. Like if he got up there and he was like Jerry Seinfeld, I mean, that wouldn't be very good. I don't know. People are weird sometimes with their complaints. But I really liked it. I thought the script was very good, and it is one of my favorites of this year. It's directed by Bradley Cooper, script by Mark Chappell, Will Arnett, and Bradley Cooper. Is Mark Chappell? Okay, yeah. So I would really recommend checking that out when you can. I really liked it. Then I saw the Netflix series Death by Lightning. So I'm super excited about this series. You know, I don't normally watch that many series. I'm having to watch a little bit more for Movie Show. But, normally I'm more, unless it's animated or on Hallmark, I'm usually a movie girl or theater. And, but this really caught my attention because I really love historical YouTubers, like vlogging through history and tasting history. There's a bunch of other ones that I follow. And I don't know. I just really think Mr. Beats, not Mr. Beast, Mr. Beats, and some of the other ones out there really cool to see what they come up with. And one of the things that I learned about is this incredible election of 1880, and I didn't know anything about it. The only thing I knew about Charles Guiteau was in the musical Assassins. He's in there, so I kind of learned about that. But Death by Lightning is all about the amazing rise and assassination of James Garfield. And if you don't know anything about this part of American history, it is wild. He was a congressman And he wasn't even planning on running or at all. But they asked him to give an address at the Republican convention. He wasn't that thrilled about the Sherman guy that he was supposed to be stumping for, but he's like, fine, I'll do it. He gets up there, and nobody was that happy with what was going on because there had been a bunch of scandal in the Grant administration. I am no historical expert, but this is just my understanding. Anyway, he gets up there, he gives this speech. Everyone is so blown away that they immediately start whispering, this should be the guy. This should be our nominee. This is way better than the other. So they do like rounds of voting, and nobody can get a plurality. Nobody can win. So then finally somebody's like, a bunch of people are like, well, let's vote for Garfield. And so then there's another vote and more. And he's like, what? No, I'm not. And then he ends up getting the nomination. He's like, what? And I just think that is so incredible. I mean, can you imagine somebody's speech being that good that you literally become a nominee for president? That's how good his speech was. Unbelievable. And so then, but then basically this Guteau guy, he becomes kind of obsessed with him. He loves the speech so much, and he personalizes it in such a way that really feels kind of modern. The way that some people, what do they call it? Socio, what's the word? The like the relationships that people feel that they have with celebrities and things like that. Like the people were so upset that Taylor Swift gets engaged or something, or that they feel they have this relationship with a celebrity that they don't have, that they don't even know who they are. And that's kind of what Guteau what happened to Guteau, but it was just it was like the 1880s version of it. So the series Death by Lightning is absolutely great. It is a mature series, so there is more F-bombs than there should be, especially because Garfield was an ordained minister. I mean, but it kind of makes sense because you've got this whole Tammany Hall group of people. The spoil system was a big thing. So I doubt that those guys that, making backroom deals and stuff, I doubt that they have that they had the best language, but still it's a little much. And then there is some sensuality because particularly Guteau goes to hookers and things like that. So it is mature, but I still overall thought it was outstanding, really good. And Michael Shannon is so good as Garfield, and Matthew Macfadyen as Guteau. Highly recommend. Really good. Okay, let's see here. Unfortunately, despite good animation, In Your Dreams has never hooked me. While the dream aspect is imaginative and fun enough, the comedy is so weak it undermines it. Are you seeing that just from the trailers? I mean, yes, the comedy with the little boy's a little much, but I don't know. I think it's worth a watch. As for Spellbound, it was so well intentioned with the message regarding force, but it was so poorly done. Overall, I couldn't get behind it. I still remember when the Flinks tickled the King Flink's armpits, and that made him spew insects at the enemy. Oh, it's sad because it had good moments. The What About Me song Elian sings is beautiful and raw. After all I've gone through, just held on through all the things I've had to see. What about me? So yeah, the Spellbound. I mean, the songs were definitely its greatest strength. When you get Alan Menken on board, that's going to help. But I think In Your Dreams is a lot better in that regard. Okay. So then I saw Sarah's Oil, and I thought this was Angel Studios. I said that actually in my review. That was my bad. This was actually Amazon. It feels very Angel Studios, which I love Angel Studios. I think they've made some really great stuff. So, that was my mistake. But it's a true story about this little girl a black little girl, and it's like turn of the century. In Oklahoma, she ends up inheriting this land that ends up having this oil. And of course, then everybody's kind of after her and wanting to take the land. She becomes friends with this, I don't know what you'd call him, everyman, whatever, played by Zachary Levi. And it's a really nice little movie. I think that that kids will be it'll be inspiring for them to see somebody like them that was so strong and that that was able to be so independent. I think that's what I would have liked about it as a kid. Okay, so then I saw The Running Man. So this is the latest from Edgar Wright. And this movie, I really enjoyed it. I haven't seen the Schwarzenegger version, but I appreciated. I felt like the tight editing of Edgar Wright really helped this a lot. That it, there wasn't like long scenes of exposition and long scenes of staring at computers, which is what you get a lot of times in modern sci-fi. This, it kept moving, it kept going, kept being a new place where he's at, new people that he was working with. I thought, I think Glenn Powell is a movie star. He's got that it factor that I think really helps. And so I don't think this is as good as Hitman or anything like that, or it's not. If people are going in expecting like a real nerdy kind of Edgar Wright film, like you'd got with Scott Pilgrim or and the others, that's not this. This is more of your sort of basic entertaining blockbuster, I would say. And then we also have Now You See Me, Now You Don't, that opens this week. And I just posted my out of theater reaction, which I saw last month. I saw it in October. They made us sit on that reaction for forever. It was embargoed. So that's why that posted today. And this is like fine. Like it's entertaining. If you've liked the other two, then you'll like it. They have good chemistry. It's like clips along well enough, but it like completely forgettable. Like I already have a hard time even remembering what was in the movie. I mean, but I would say that about the other two. I mean, it's weird because there's all of these remember berries in the movie of all of these things from the other movies as if we're like super attached. The movie treats the other two movies like they are beloved, and that everybody's gonna be like, oh, that's a link from the first movie. And I could see doing that in Mission Impossible because that has more of a fan base, or even James Bond, or something like that. But Now You See Me, really? Are people like that attached to the characters and the story? I certainly am not. I mean, they're fine. Like I think I've given them all positive reviews, but it's just like it's a very, very, to me, a very like disposable, harmless little franchise, but not like something that I'm gonna want like all these Easter eggs and be super attached. I don't know, but maybe that's just me. Let me know if you are super attached to Now You See Me movies and you're super excited for this new one, because I certainly am not. Then I saw A Merry Little Xmas. This I think it's released tomorrow on Netflix, and this stars Alicia Silverstone, Oliver Hudson. They're also a divorcing couple. It's like the theme of this live stream, and this was not my favorite. But this style of holiday film is also not my favorite. Like if you love, like Becky, if you're still on, you might like this because you love like Family Stone and you love like this kind of holiday movie. So you might like it. It wasn't for me. I didn't think that the two of them had like any chemistry at all together. I wasn't like rooting for them to get back together. And it just wasn't that funny to me. It wasn't that pleasant. I didn't like it. So not for me. Then I saw Playdate. This is new to Amazon Prime. This was absolutely atrocious. I know people throw around that slop word a lot. This is AI slop. And this really feels like slop. I mean, it's so lazy. I mean, they even have characters that are like AI. And it just wasn't funny. Like they even reference Amazon multiple times in the script, and you're just all you have to do is be funny, and this was absolutely not. It was horrible. I saw Being Eddie. This is a documentary about Eddie Murphy. This is super standard celebrity documentary, but it was entertaining. They had, a lot of they have Jerry Seinfeld on there. They have Tracy Morgan. I don't know, just a bunch of different people. They either worked with him or were inspired by him, and they have Eddie being interviewed. It's perfect if you like Eddie Murphy. Perfectly little, entertaining little documentary. I saw a movie called Muzzle City of Wolves. This starring Aaron Eckhart. I don't know what's happening with Aaron Eckhart because I didn't realize that he was at this stage in his career where he had to make movies like this, like this really feels like the kind of movies that Bruce Willis was in for a while, these direct to DVD, like in John Travolta, direct to DVD action movies. But I'm looking at his career. He really he's not in a good spot. Aaron Eckhart, Deep Water, Thieves Highway, Classified. What the heck? This is a sequel, Muzzle. This is a sequel to 2023 film Muzzle, which I have not seen. Rumble Through the Dark, The Bricklayer. What are these movies? Yeah, things are not going well for Aaron Eckhart. It's bad. It's really bad. In this movie, I have to admit, I kept falling asleep. This was so boring. It was so generic. Your action movie, looking out for revenge. LAPD officer Jake Rosser endeavors to lead a peaceful life with his family and retired K-9 officer Sox. However, tranquility dissolves into chaos when a gang targets them in a brutal attack. Alongside his new K-9 partner Argos, Jake launches into a relentless pursuit of justice, determined to protect his loved ones. I mean, how more generic can you get? I mean, we have the dog, it's just like, come on. Terrible, terrible, terrible. That was very boring. Then I saw The Carpenter's Son. This is such a strange movie. It's hard to explain. So this is based on an apocrypha text called the Gospel of Thomas, I guess, which focuses on Jesus. And he is being, let's see here, make sure I get this right. And so it's an apocryphal text that basically talks about Jesus being tempted. And that, it's not canon or anything. I'm no expert on this or anything. But basically, this whole movie, they're making it seem like it's Nicolas Cage's movie. He's like the dad. He's not in it that much. It's really Noah Jupe's movie, and it's about Noah Jupe getting tempted by this demon that is tempting him to, to deny his father and deny his lineage and, to not be the son of God, basically. And it was bizarre. It was bizarre, and I don't know how to describe it tomorrow on the movie show. It definitely has those like horror themes. It gets pretty gnarly. There's lots of like serpents and snakes coming out of people's mouths, and I don't know, wild. Let's see. My friend Scott, he says about it. On one hand, you kind of have to hand it to writer-director Lofty Nathan for making the kind of movie that seems to be for absolutely nobody. I completely agree with that. That is what I watched this movie, and I was just like, who is this made for? Because it's not going to be like Christian people aren't going to like it. You've got Jesus being tempted. You've got horror themes. You've got snakes and, things getting gnarly. They're going to hate that. But then like the horror fans are certainly not going to like it. It's too religious, but not in a way that's interesting to horror fans. It's not like it's about an exorcism or, something like that. And so it really does feel like, who is this movie made for? I have no idea. It's specifically a Jesus story that's mostly supernatural horror movie in which Jesus is a sullen, horny teenager. I suppose it could be for those who are on board with whatever over the top vibe Nicolas Cage is putting down in any given role, as Nathan casts him as the conspicuously unnamed carpenter perpetually on the run with his wife and 15-year-old son after saving the baby from Herod's infant murdering order. The narrative is theoretically based on the apocryphal infant Gospel of Thomas, which could account for stuff like young pre-Messiah oogling naked girls and literally murdering someone. But this story is much less interested in adolescent Jesus, even in a possible first temptation of Christ's sense of humanizing him, than it is in Joseph as a devout man obsessed with the possibility his wife conceived by means other than heavenly intervention, and with a manifestation of Satan. I actually think that latter part is most of the movie. I mean, I didn't think that Nicolas Cage was even really in it that much. It was a lot of Noah Jupe with this demon girl and it's sort of the back and forth. And so it is a strange movie. But I don't know. Interesting, I guess. Uh, and then I finished Mistletoe Murders season 2. This is on Hallmark Channel, and I think it was pretty good. And it's all the episodes have been aired yet, so I won't spoil it. But I think they do a pretty good job of building up our characters, and each little mystery is 2 episodes. So you end up getting 3 new mysteries for Sarah Drew and Mistletoe Murders. I enjoyed it. So that's everything that I have been watching on the screen. I don't know if there's any comments on there, but let's talk about what I have been watching on the stage. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I saw Murder to Death. This was at the Empress, and this is a fun take on like an Agatha Christie style murder mystery, the different characters. I particularly enjoyed the inspector and the inspector's assistant, and this inspector it kind of had like Jeeves and Wooster sort of vibes, with the inspector being a fool, but the assistant kind of making things right, and their dynamic was enjoyable. I'm not the biggest Agatha Christie mystery fan, but because this was kind of parodying those in a way, it was making fun of them. I enjoyed it quite a bit, so that was good. Then I saw, let's see, Bahubali the Epic. That was really fun. Let's see. I knew that November I would not see as much theater because I would have so many movies to watch with the Christmas and everything. So, and it is true, not as much this month. So I saw The Secret Garden. This was at Bluffdale Arts. And what I love about Bluffdale Arts is that they have a no-cut policy. So anybody who wants to participate can. I love that. And this was wonderful. I mean, the sets, it was a bummer because they had a lot of mic problems. They're in this big auditorium. But other than that, like the quality of the sets and the costumes were absolutely beautiful. And all the singing was really good. So it's frustrating when something like the mics kind of holds something back. But I really did enjoy it. And I feel like with Secret Garden, that if they were going to ask me for advice, if they were doing a revival, I would say, honestly, I would eliminate the Dickon character completely and eliminate his songs, because you already have the gardener. So you have another character that can be that character of, letting Mary into the garden. And it just becomes too much, like his songs and I think the show would be a lot better if you got rid of Dickon. Sorry, Dickon fans. I saw Charlie and the Chocolate Factory at the Ruth. This is a very, good version of this musical. This is my first time seeing the musical. And I think they did an excellent job. Great singing. The sets were very impressive. But I wasn't a huge fan of this musical, particularly anything involving the other ticket winners. I liked everything with Charlie pretty good, and the stuff from the movie that was good, of course. But the new songs and the way they sort of modernized the other ticket winners was so cringe. I did not like, especially Violet. It was really not good. So, I saw a play called Tiny Beautiful Things. This is based on a book that was a compilation of a bunch of advice columns. So that's what it is. It's this woman that gets all these letters to Sugar, and she's responding. And it could be very boring. And there were times it got a little slow for me, but I think that they did a good job of making it just not her just looking at her screen. That they made it authentic and warm. This was at Pygmalion at the Rose Wagner, so I enjoyed it. Then I saw Suffs. This was the national tour of Suffs, and I think that it's going to be compared to Hamilton quite a bit. And there's definitely a lot of similarities, and I can see why someone would say that. But I think it still was good on its own, and I was impressed that it didn't feel like historical propaganda. It felt messy. It felt like these characters, these people were a mixture of good and bad and imperfect, and so I appreciate that in it. I really do. And I was a little sad that they didn't mention Elizabeth Cady Stanton. They only mentioned Susan B. Anthony, because Elizabeth Cady Stanton was incredible. And her, if you ever want to listen to a great speech, great political speech, you should listen to The Solitude of Self by Elizabeth Cady Stanton. It is one of the great speeches in American history. Highly recommend. She's awesome. They didn't mention her. I wish they had. But still, they had a lot of people they were talking about. I can understand why they did what they did, but I still found it overall moving, entertaining, good, pretty good songs. And so if you get a chance to see Suffs, I recommend it. I recommend it. And it was interesting because I'm sure in my younger years I would have related more to the Alice Paul character, who's just she had very like Joe March energy. She was really, bullish and everything. But now, as I'm almost 45, I related more to the to the other lady who wanted to do it in a way that that she felt like would have more power in a more like soft, subtle approach than if people were just frustrated and annoyed by them. So their difference is I could relate more to the older one now. And I was glad that they didn't make Woodrow Wilson into a hero, because Woodrow Wilson was not a good man. He was a blatant racist, very misogynistic. He was not a good president. And it's a little cartoonish the way they have him portrayed, but I'm fine with that because he was not a good person. Then finally, I saw A Christmas Story at Centerpoint Legacy, and I think that this show is actually underrated. It depends. I mean, if you don't like the movie, then you won't like the show. It's like exactly the movie. But I like the songs. It's from Pasek and Paul, who did La La Land and Dear Evan Hansen, and so I think they're catchy, good songs, and it's overall quite sweet and endearing, and it's a nice show for Christmas. And this was just it's such an incredible production. If you're in Utah, you should definitely see it. The sets, they are unbelievable, double-sided, these incredible sets, and all the singing was excellent. Yeah, it's great. I highly recommend it. So there we go. That is everything that I've seen stage and screen since the last live stream. I hope you all enjoyed that. And thanks for your comments and feedback. I really appreciate it. And let me know what you've been enjoying lately, what you're excited for. I'm going to be seeing Wicked next week, so that's very exciting. Actually, next week is wild. So I have... So I'm going to St. George tomorrow. Going to St. George. I'm going to see Daddy Longlegs there on Friday, and then I'm seeing it again on Saturday at St. George Musical Theater, and then I'm seeing A Christmas Story again there on Saturday. Then I have on Monday, I am seeing a play. I forget what it was called. I'm seeing a play that night, and then I'm going to Wicked on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I see Marty Supreme, which I'm really excited about because I mean, it just looks like a good movie, and it's got Fran Drescher, my girl, in it. So I'm excited about that. Wake Up Dead Man, I see on Thursday. I'm not the biggest fan of that franchise, but it'll be fun to see. And then Friday, I'm seeing She Loves Me at BYU, and I love She Loves Me. So I'm excited to see that. And then Saturday, I'm seeing Pride and Prejudice at Centerpoint and Steel Magnolias at OPA. So that will be super fun. So yeah, busy, busy. Next week is going to be wild for me, but really fun. So make sure you're following me on Instagram. You get all my out of theater reactions on there for both theater and film. And make sure you check out On Stage Blog. We had an episode where we picked a Broadway show from every year of my life from 1981 forward. So I think that was a very fun episode. So check that out. I would really appreciate it. And check out KSL Movie Show for the next little bit. At least I'm going to be filling in, subbing in. And so I would love if you supported that and let them know that you like having me on, that you think I'm doing a good job. That would help me so much. I would really appreciate it. And of course, we got all of the cool stuff at Hallmarkies Podcast covering the Christmas right now. So make sure to check that out. And we have the Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support everything that I'm doing. And we've got a really cool watch along planned that I'm working on for this month and even for next month. And merch store, we've got lots of fun festive designs. If you want to get a Christmas shirt or Christmas designs, check that out. We also have lots of movie inspired animation junkie shirts. We've got lots of Hallmark themed shirts. Well, I mean, it's not just shirts. You can use it for anything. You use it for a phone cover. You can use it for a bunch of stuff. So check that out. I would really, really appreciate it. And yeah, that's basically everything that I had to talk about. Let me know what you think about all the things that we talked about. And I hope you're having a great day. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye.